Well, welcome everyone, and thank you so much for coming to our session. This is from traditional comments and skills to digital learning journals, and we are from Cassidy School in Oklahoma City. We have some hecklers in the back, so if you all can help them behave, feel free to intervene and use your teacher management skills to help us with it. We don't have any pre-existing biases about any of our students. My name is Wes Fryer. I'm the Director of Technology, and I'm so excited to get to present today with two of our wonderful second grade teachers, and I'll let them introduce themselves, and then they're going to also be sharing today projects and student work that their students have created, even yesterday, and then telling you about their journey with Seesaw as well as skills.
I'm Melissa Coate, and I teach second grade at Cassidy.
And I'm Lisa Jordan, and I also teach second grade.
All right. Would you be willing
Oh, yes.
to?
Could y'all go back to the code for just a second?
Yes, we can do that. So as Melissa, it'll probably be like code. It's like slide near the end. So if you have not downloaded, try 43 maybe. Go back one more.
Okay.
Perfect. So if you have not downloaded the Seesaw class app, we will be using that today in about the last 15 minutes. We'll set aside time and start my timer here, so we'll hopefully stay on track. And let you be a student in a Seesaw. By a show of hands, how many of you use Seesaw now? Is anybody using Seesaw? All right. Is anybody else on Blackbaud as your student information system? We transitioned about 3 years ago to the web-based version of Blackbaud. We call it My Cassidy. But anyway, that's where we do our comments and skills for students. Also, if you've not put your name up here by a number, that will allow you to not be anonymous because we created a class with 30 folks or 40 folks in it. And so anyway, we'll get started. If we'll go to the next slide. On the session description in the LLI Southwest app, you'll find this shortened link. And so after the session or now, whenever you want to, you can simply click that shortened link, and I'm a real geek with my own web shortener, and so that will just take you to this Google slideshow. So you'll be able to access all of the slides and the links, and then like we said, you'll need the Seesaw Classroom app, but we'll have time to help you do that if you haven't done that already. This is a shared presentation that we would love for you to share with all others, and this fancy Creative Commons means that you are welcome to take any of this content and share it non-commercially, and we'd love to know if you do that, because we are not only presenting this to hopefully help you, but we want to learn about what you're doing and connect to other teachers who are using Seesaw, especially for skills and comments, because we've been using, as we'll talk about, pretty much the same format of report card in our lower school for a long, long time, and we're continuing to do that, but we really feel like Seesaw has brought a lot to our parent communication and to assessment, and so we want to connect with others that are on a similar journey. So today we're going to tell you briefly about goals and key principles. In fact, the number one goal today is to make Wes not talk too much, because I do that very easily. Lisa's going to share with you about her class, shares with you some activities she's done. We'll hear some student voices, in fact, some things that were happening yesterday, I think, and just showing you the very immediacy that Seesaw allows for center-based lessons and students really taking charge of their learning and being able to follow instructions and get feedback. Melissa's going to do the same thing, but also talk about adding skills and skill artifacts. We just had parent conferences. Was it last week?
On the 8th.
On the 8th, and so that was the first time for Melissa, using some of those with parents, and we're really sharing with you. It's kind of raw, like this is just what we're learning. We're doing this, and we really thought we wouldn't share until April at another conference, the Atlas conference, but our head of school asked us to come here, and we thought this will be great. So we're just kind of sharing even a little earlier than we thought, but there's been some good learning, and we hope this will be beneficial. We'll wrap up with opportunities for you to join a Seesaw class we created, and if you want to be thinking creatively now, you'll get to select an object either that we've provided or you happen to have in your pocket or purse, and just use expression to tell us a little quick story or say something about one of these objects, because basically we want to show you how the process works. When students get an artifact into Seesaw, how do the skills get added, and then how does the teacher not only approve the submission, but tag it with multiple skills. We're just going to probably do one today, but you can have multiple skills that you assess on a scale from 1 to 4. I think we can do 5 too. Yeah. All right, let's go. So as we reflect on our learning, we know that there are others that are on a similar journey. We have been using Seesaw for several years, but really mostly in the last 2 years. In our primary division, we are about 900 students, pre-K through 12th grade. Until last year, primary division used a printed newsletter as their main parent communicator. As Seesaw was both utilized by some of us, but then also teachers were discovering in other places, they brought it back, and that's now the primary communicator for our primary division with parents. And in our lower division, we have the Seesaw class for every homeroom. Each of our specials teachers is in each one of those Seesaw classes. And as it may have been for you as starting out, it's really been a place to share photographs and sometimes video and really give parents a window into what's happening. But we're growing and trying to intentionally grow to where students are now creating content. They are recording their voices. They are documenting their learning. They are showing what they know with media. And that, I think, is really one of the best ways to use technology, is for students to be the creators, and then also to be able to get feedback from each other, and for us to talk about how that's appropriate. How do we show kindness and respect? We're responsible for the things that we say and we write, and this isn't something we wait to middle school or high school to talk about. You know, we're doing that early on. So those are some of our goals for today. How many of you are writing narrative comments for students on a periodic basis and rating students or providing skill feedback on some kind of a scale? All right. So how many times a year do we do that, Lisa?
3.
3. So it's just basically, we're on
Every
a trimester system. And so my wife teaches 3rd grade at our school, and that really has given me a lot of insight into just how much time goes into that. And that process was the same, more or less, before we had technology, email, and everything else. And so that is our system, but Seesaw has started to supplement that. And one of the puzzles we're really wanting to talk about and figure out is, you know, should that change? Can that change? Especially to provide a higher quality feedback to parents and to improve that communication. Because if there's one thing we know with research, the more we're connected to parents, the better that communication is, the more regular it is. That's going to be a win for everyone. And we know that Seesaw is winning for us in that respect. So you can click the links in our slideshow and access any of these documents. So Melissa, if you don't mind clicking there to open this Google Doc. This is actually the initial Google Doc, and we asked teachers to apply for this pilot project. We can scroll down here through objectives a little bit, and we kind of have a timeline here of things that we were going to do. We got to give teachers iPads to keep in their room. That's a really big deal because we're not one-to-one. We've just had shared iPads in the library, which are wonderful, better than not having iPads. But even better is to have it in your room all the time and not to, I mean, sharing is good, sharing is caring, but, you know, we don't have to worry about pencils like not being in the room. Oh, can I use a pencil today? And so this is the first time that we've had a group of 5 teachers that they have those iPads all the time, and then they're in their room. And so that's part of what we're trying to figure out as well, is should this look like? In the ideal world, you know, how many Chromebooks, how many iPads, you know, what kinds of tools do you want? So our teachers applied with an application, and thankfully we were able to accept everyone. And we hope and expect that this group will grow after this year. We'll go to the slideshow. So yeah, first tab. So in addition to those documents, we'll go to the next one. We've also got our workshops, and we're not going to click on those, but we're using team drives inside Google. We've been a Google school probably for 8 or 9 years. This is my 4th year, and we were multiple years into that when I came. And so there's a lot of resource links on these documents. Again, please use them. Part of what we know we need are iPad basics, okay? Because Seesaw Skills is sort of taking it another step. It's like an intermediate kind of use of Seesaw. And so we have teachers who, some of whom were one-to-one using iPads, you know, before they were at Cassidy, many that are very new to the iPad. And so we're trying to, as this is a pilot project, identify what are the skills that our teachers need, and then how do we help teachers grow, you know, in their use of those. So our goals for the workshop. We want to have fun creating, sharing, and interacting. Media, as we're doing today, this is a presentation process, right? This is a delivery, which sometimes we do, but the best way to use technology, I think, is to have students creating and then being able to share and interact. And so we want to do that in our workshops, and we're going to try to model that today. In addition, we want to build confidence that our teachers have with students. Is anyone else here overwhelmed at all with information or with change? Right? That'd be a great augmented reality thing for me to just lift my app and see where are you on a scale of 1 to 10. In Oklahoma City, they're doing huge changes in our public schools, and I asked a principal a couple weeks ago, scale of 0 to 10, how is your stress level? She said 15, you know, I mean, it's just over the top. So we have a lot of things happening, a lot of change, a lot of information. And so one of the things I believe, after having done a lot of professional development with teachers and working with our staff, is we ought to give some time for us to learn together, and not just, the summertime's great, but even during the year. When can we get together and do that? And we're working with our administration. Please don't imagine that we figured all of that out. But this is some time that we have carved out, because we know in order to build confidence, we have to have time. And we have to have coaching, and we have to have sharing, and that's what we're trying to build, is a community that will do that and support each other. In addition, we know that we've got a lot of skills. I think Melissa was saying somewhere between 30, 35, something like that, and just in second grade. So special teachers have more skills. We could import them all, right? And I did that when we transitioned over to our new Blackboard. We have like 400-something skills in primary and in lower. You can import all of them into Seesaw. And you can also import things like ISTE, technology skills. If you're going to do character education, there's different kinds of pre-made skills that you can import. For now, though, we're asking our teachers to not do 20-plus skills, but identify a few that really make sense for the things that students can take a picture of, record their voice with. What kinds of skills can they reflect and show? And so that's one of the things that we're working on. In addition, we're giving chances for students to practice these activities and these skills. And I'm writing that down, remembering that. So doing okay. Key principles. There's a nice view of Mark's there. Sharing is fine, but digital device communism can work poorly. And what do I mean by that? Do any of you have shared Chromebooks, shared iPads? The more you can have individual ownership, so like if they're for your grade level or for your classroom, it tends to work better. Sometimes when we have carts that just kind of float all over the place, unless somebody really rides herd over them, devices can be all over the place and keys can pop off and all kinds of things happen. So this was a real big thing for us to say, these are iPads for your classroom. You don't have to share them. They're not just in the library rotation, or we have a lower division rotation where there are about 6 or 8 iPads there too. In addition, this represents an investment in our teachers as professional educators. It's really important, right? So if this is really important, let's just not tell people they have to come on a Saturday, or let's just not try and do it at 4 o'clock. I don't know about you, but I've had lots of professional development at the end of the day, and sometimes that's when we can do it, but none of us are at our best at 4 o'clock. So we've decided to do this in the morning, and we have 3 sessions. We've done 2 of them. We have 1 more coming up in March. So that's not a tremendous amount of time, but it's a heck of a lot more than we've done before, and the feedback has been positive. Yes?
You might have said this. Is this in your entire, do you have some first grade teachers and some 4th grade teachers and some?
Correct. Today we have 2 second grade teachers, but I don't think we have any 4th grade, but we have 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade.
So
and they all were able to apply to be a part of it if they wanted to.
And so do you have some kids that like in 3rd grade, you have 2 3rd grade teachers who are doing it and 2 that are not?
So everyone's doing Seesaw. And so we have Seesaw classes for everybody, and we pay for the Seesaw for schools. And that's actually something important, that the skills part of Seesaw is something that's their plus part. So you either have to pay as an individual teacher for a Seesaw Plus account, or your school has to pay for Seesaw for schools. And so we're doing that. But like I said, all of our primary division uses it as a primary communicator, and then everybody in lower division has it. Now it varies. I think 4th grade this year is doing more Google Classroom. And it just varies within grade levels, but it's there for every teacher. We have done some professional development, and we'll do more, but this particular group that's doing this is I think 6 teachers, and we've invited our librarian and some others to be able to join. We want to encourage experimentation, instructional risk-taking, sharing, and supporting others, right? And this is hard, because we don't have all this figured out, and stepping in front of the class and doing these new things, we're I think on a journey towards more instructional coaching. And so we've been able to do some of that here, and it's really an intentional goal. Is anybody else using Folio to do reflection and work with colleagues? We're doing Folio this year. which is, how do we describe Folio? A mentorship, stretch goal.
Right, you set a
System.
goal and then, you have a coach that works with you and they help you do things along the year.
Come into your classroom, observe
Right,
you teaching,
observe.
you set your own goals.
It's like an observation tool, kind of, sort of.
But it's not a minimum expectation, gotcha, you're on an improvement plan.
Right.
That's a separate thing for us. This is a you set your goals and you get a different person to work with. That's your director, I think every 3 years maybe, is that how that
Right,
rotates?
yeah.
Every third year you're with your supervisor and then you choose your coach. So it could be someone in your grade level. I'm having a chance to coach with our field hockey coach who also does PE for our lower division and one of our middle division teachers in our makerspace, and then in our upper division computer science. Anyway, it's a great opportunity. It's a real treat for me because I don't get to go into classrooms as much as I would like. And so here's our pedagogy, and it's really the butterfly. In terms of technology, we all tend to do what we've done before first. We replicate, we accommodate, but we can also transform. That's why the butterfly's there. So we can go beyond, right? How long have cassette recorders been around? A really long time. But have we used those to do a lot of recording of student voices and then share them with parents? Not much. Even if you're in foreign language, you haven't done a lot of that most likely. So what can we do that goes beyond what we've done before? What are the transformative ways this can really especially show growth? Wow, look at where Sarah was, in September or in August with her fluency, and now listen to her. Or now look at how she's expressing her thoughts with writing or whatever she's doing. Next slide. This is really, really important. We believe, and Seesaw can be used in all kinds of ways, right? The worst way I've ever heard is there was a teacher who uses it basically to capture kids screwing up in discipline problems. So he has video of it and he sends it right to the parents. That's what he uses Seesaw for, okay? I don't think that's a great use, okay? We are using it for student work, to show what we're doing in class, to communicate with parents, to be a window into our classroom, but it's also a work in progress. So everything's not perfect. Sometimes there's stuff that's misspelled. Sometimes there are things that are not finished. And so this is something important that we're emphasizing with our teachers, and we're also encouraging them to share with parents, because sometimes we have that expectation, wait a minute, this isn't perfect. Well, this is a learning journal, and this is a process journal, and so it's not going to always just be that showcase. We can make a showcase portfolio, and we'll probably do some of that, but that's not what Seesaw is. It's not just the showcase. All right, really small thing, we encourage our teachers to turn on item editing. They don't have to, but that means students can improve their work. They can resubmit it. And if we're focusing on mastery and really wanting to give them another chance, that's a beautiful thing about recording audio connected to a picture, right? I don't have any idea how many times you recorded. Maybe you recorded it 10 times and finally, we're happy with it, or maybe that was your first try. But it can give kids a chance to put their best foot forward and also improve their work, and so that's something that we encourage. Any of you use Dear Time? Drop everything and read? So that's set aside time, because we know that independent reading is so important. Well, we're encouraging our teachers to think about, when can kids look at each other's work? When can they interact with each other's work? You can turn on likes, so the students and parents can do this too, but students can heart each other's work. And then eventually you can turn on, if you want, commenting. And I really think it's important to help kids understand what makes a good comment. How do we get a conversation going? Why is great, nice, not just a fantastic comment? How can you be specific and even maybe get a conversation going? Tell someone something specific. What did you really like about that work? What did you see that they did that stands out? Kids love, in many cases, especially at 2nd and 3rd grade. Maybe this isn't true for everyone, but they love to look at each other's work and see what they've done. By the way, you don't have to allow that at all in Seesaw. You can make it where only the kid sees their own stuff. Parents only see their child's work, okay? The parents don't see the whole class. You can tag things for the whole class that all parents see, but they will only see things that are tagged for their child. So again, we see this as a really great way to build classroom community, to help students be able to see the possibilities, because sometimes there's quiet kids, they don't stand up in class, they don't make a big deal of their work, but wow, look at what Jared did, look at what Kevin did. And so being able to have that chance to see their work and celebrate it and interact with it is very powerful. Last thing, design, create, and share. Actually, my wife and I have been kind of working on this, and they, even this summer, finally get a book written about this. Remember Madeline Hunter, lesson cycle? You know, that's what we've all done in teacher preparation. I really like this cycle, okay? Design, create, and share. Design what you want your kids to do. What are they going to learn? What are they going to interact with? How are they going to watch a video? Are they going to read a passage? Are they going to, you know, have some kind of challenge that they're going to do? They're going to make a skit. But create something that's then shareable. So that could be a picture that they then reflect on. It could be a video, but it's something they make actively, and then they share it back. Because there's a really good cycle that can happen when students are creating things, they're sharing it back, and that learning community is very supportive for them and encouraging for them to, you know, be stretched and go further. All right, folders are our friends. In Seesaw, you can choose multiple folders. You don't have to just put in the math folder. So you can have a project folder. Melissa used a conference folder this last week to be able to more quickly go just to the things she wanted to highlight in the conference. This is a basic skill we've recognized we want to help our teachers figure out how to use. And it's up to you how you do it, because it just says make a folder. You choose the name, you choose the color, but it really, really helps, especially when you have lots of stuff that kids are putting in there all year long. And it's better to have some of this organization kind of from the beginning rather than go in and say, oh my gosh, how do I find, you know, a fluency example? Well, if we have a folder, that makes it a lot easier to get to. So we would love your ideas and input during this session, after this session, about what student assessment should look like, right? How should Seesaw play into that? Ultimately, you know, is this something we formally make changes to our report card and our grade card? Maybe we start having more blurbs, or just this is what we're doing in class, and the customized feedback, you know, comes through Seesaw. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like, but that's part of what we're exploring and we're talking about. So I would like to turn over the floor now, I think the next slide. Yes, to Lisa, our second grade teacher, who's going to share a little bit about her classroom and her Seesaw journey.
Okay. My name is Lisa Jordan. This is my 7th year at Cassidy. 33 years in teaching, was in the public system before that. When we first started getting computers in the classroom, they were the standalone computers. We used them for accelerated reader, maybe, I don't know, playing math games, things like that. So when I was able to get the iPads for my class, one of my main goals, and it's my folio goal, is to use Seesaw more in my classroom. Plus, during parent conferences, you can explain test results. We use Dibbles for a reading assessment, and you can talk about fluency. But when a parent can go on Seesaw and actually listen to their child, and oh wow, you know, they were very choppy at the beginning of the year, and you know, 2 months later, listen to how fluent they are, and they're actually adding expression to it. That was what I really wanted to be able to do, to have like a video recording of the child's reading. So we have incorporated in 2nd grade math rotations and reading rotations to differentiate and meet the needs of all of our children. So during reading rotations and math rotations, technology is one of the stations that they go to. So during reading rotations, last week, one of the activities that I had seen on Seesaw, because when you go into Seesaw, you can browse the activity in the Seesaw library. And when we first started doing activities, some of my children would just kind of go rogue and make up their own directions instead of following the directions. So I got the idea for this particular one that we're going to go back to, and it asked them to record a special message. And so instead of recording, we went and the children took their picture. As you can see, Scout loves to pose. She is in children's theater in our community, and she's quite the little actress. Take her picture, and then she goes into Seesaw, and she was able to type a message to her parents. And then their favorite thing is adding emojis. So this is what she was able to do. And then if you look at the bottom on the left, it was seen by her mom and dad, and they liked it, which is the little heart that they fill And then on Valentine's Day, because we were all excited about those Valentine cards, that makes them crazy, we had different activities to do. One of the math activities that we had to do was building towers out of candy hearts. And so they were given instructions from me on what to do, and then the children...
And measuring too, right?
Yes, it was measuring. They had to build a tower and then measure it and see which tower was the tallest, record their answers. And then they had to explain their strategy. And in our math program, we talk about the different strategies we use to come up with an answer. And so this was all done by the children. We went over the instructions. I have a little girl in my room who was selective mute when she was younger, and she took control. I mean, she was showing everyone and explaining the process of how to do this, so which made my heart happy. But this is Emmy, and she's explaining the activity to her parents.
I made a 5-inch candy heart tower, and it was made from candy heart, and my tallest, well, it was 20 candy hearts tall, but my second longest was 4 inches, and it was an 18 candy hearts. My strategy for building a tall tower is use the flat side and a stronger base. My tallest tower was 20 hearts. I think I could build a tower 20 hearts again because I have courage.
So her mom commented, I love that she is communicating her strategy. And then I wrote back, I love to hear those vocabulary words used correctly. So proud of your hard work. So she was just beaming by the end when she went back and looked at everything she had posted that day. One of the activities in our reading rotations this week was to go onto Newsomatic. And those of you that haven't used Newsomatic, it's an app, and it is current events that are on the child's level. The teacher can go into their class and you can actually pick the reading level for your child. It's a very safe. How much is that app?
So it depends on licensing. You can buy it individually. We actually have it for our entire lower and middle divisions, and so it's just licensed on how many kids you have.
We use Newsomatic. We also have Epic. When I tell my children that they need to go into Epic to watch a video, like on Martin Luther King, they beg to please go back to Newsomatic. So, the particular activity for reading rotations was to go to Newsomatic. You can choose any article you want. You need to be able to tell me 2 facts and give your opinion on the article, and then you can add emojis to it. Being in Oklahoma City, we have the Thunder. I, for some reason, always get the little boys that are crazy about sports. So they are always excited to be able to scan through Newsomatic and find something related to sports. This happened yesterday. I was here yesterday. So my little friend Thomas, he is the kid that comes in the door every day and says, can I take an AR test? And do I get to go to technology and reading or in math today? So this is what we found yesterday that Thomas had done.
Russell Westbrook scored a 10 consecutive triple-double, and I think he is a great player. He helped Hamidou Diallo win the dunk contest in his first dunk. And in the All-Star game, he was on Team Giannis.
And then this morning when I was checking emails and things, I had notices from Seesaw, and his mom had commented on his work from yesterday. So
Question.
they screenshot. We go through on how to screenshot, and then, I mean, you know, they pick it up so quickly, much quicker than I do. But they are very proficient, and that was one of the goals that I had for myself, is to be able so that they can do this independently. And, you know, the sub, when I was explaining to her, I said, do not worry about the technology part of rotations because they know what to do. So,
question over here.
Yeah, so the kids have access to the apps through the iPads, but the iPads are the classroom iPads since they stay at home. Is there another way for the students to have access, maybe at home, beyond just using their parents?
On Newsomatic they can, and they're able to just log in because we have that license, and so they can get that on the Chromebook or iPad. The way we're logging into Seesaw, they only do that in the classroom. When we go to 5th grade, that's when we create Google accounts for kids at 1st grade, and they start to use them. They don't have email until 5th grade. But at 5th grade, not that we create for them, but at 5th grade is when they log into Seesaw with their Google account. The way we're doing it is our demo is that class code, and so the kids,
We have it posted on the wall, and they go over and take it.
Yeah. And so the parents can, through their family app, they can see their work, but they can't post new work into Seesaw the way we're logging in right now. Some schools will start like in 3rd and 4th grade with their kids logging in with Google, and we've actually had some conversations about that because then they could do more at home. But at this point, we're doing the class code, and at 5th grade, that's when they'll log in with Google.
We use it in my class. I kind of like that they can't get to it from home because like they don't have the QR code. Like there's just no way for them to do it, and it sort of makes it so it's not. I don't know. I can see it turning into like a messaging app. If you get it at home, it's like starting to comment on each other and just I don't know. Like.
And that's part of what I think the teacher has to really set the culture for how we're using this and the expectations. My wife does not I don't think she's turned on comments yet. She will for her 3rd graders later this semester, but she doesn't do that right away. And so helping to build expectation of how we're going to use it. And then this is really an academic forum, right? We are social, okay, but we're not also just like, hey, what's up? You know, this is about our academic work and we're providing feedback on our work. So it is something that the limitations can be nice because you can keep kind of, more control over that, which is really important with technology because a lot of times we don't feel like we have control. So.
And teachers always have to go and approve things. So even if they were commenting on each other's, you still have to approve the comments before they go where everyone can see them. If you have that turned on, that's right. So I've been teaching at Cassidy for 5 years, 20 years total teaching, and when I started using Seesaw, it was like he talked about at the beginning, most of the time just taking a picture of student work. I'm usually the one that took the picture and posted it, and now we've moved where the children are really doing it independently, and it's really a learning tool for them. So it's been exciting to see my growth in that and to see the kids' growth. So this is an example of using an activity, kind of like Lisa showed. So I went onto the Seesaw library and just found a simple activity to show this skill. So they went to the Seesaw, they chose the activity, they added it onto their journal page, and then they used a little draw tool and finished it. And then I can go back in and look at how they did. He added a little bit of extra on for his Robert rules. And then, and this just shows you down here that even when they post things, you still have to go and approve it before it shows up on anything. So sometimes I might have to delete something if it was maybe too much background noise when they were talking, or maybe they didn't follow the directions at all, those kinds of things. And then, what else are we going to show on this one? Oh, just that I can improve it.
Oh, this was a response to an activity that you created.
So that up there it shows that this was connected to an activity that I added, and I can assign. When I did this, I have some students that I wanted to see how they could do on this, but then I had others that I wanted to see can solve harder problems. So I was able to assign these to some students and then harder ones to the others, which was nice. That was the first time I'd done that. So this is what he was talking about with folders. So I have just the basic ones on here like math and reading, but then also, in those, the kids really are learning which one to put them in. So when they do an assignment or post something, they will put it in where it goes. Or sometimes they might ask, is this reading or writing or something, but that's been neat to see them do that on their own. But this year I made a conference folder, then I made one for things I was adding for this, so it's kind of neat to be able to use those and even start using them more specifically for projects or things. So like right here when I had the conference folder, I was able to just put things I wanted to show parents, and then it's already divided out, and I could click the student and it would show their things I wanted to show. So here's an example of adding a skill. So this was another activity that I found assigned to the students. They went in and did the activity, And then I had her tell about the strategy she used, so you can listen to that.
I used an open number line to solve my problem.
And that was an example of a student that was really shy at the beginning of the year and wouldn't have done something like this. So that was kind of neat to see, even though that was simple, her confidence in sharing on Seesaw. But down here where you see the graduation hat, that's where it shows that there's a skill attached to this assignment. So I just went into that and then added a skill. And when you click that, you'll be able to see when you're on the site your skills. So then the next slide will show that I added the skill of making change from $1 up here at the top, and then you can rate how they did on that. And then later we can show you how you can customize how many stars you want, what colors you want for those. You can add any skill you want. We're just beginning that and talking about if we want to add just our report card skills, which kind of makes it more streamlined, or different things. So we're kind of in the process of that.
And it could be something for the division. If there are certain things we want to emphasize for the trimester or the semester or something like that, then they can show up across the whole school if you want, or it could just be teachers creating skills for their class.
And you can see all of the skills?
If we import them as a school, you can.
Right.
But right now, I think it's just the ones you did. Yeah.
Can parents see that?
No, so just this teacher can see the
Not
skills.
digitally. It's only if you share it at a conference. So it's really for the teacher to use as a teacher tool, and then if you choose to share that at the conference, you can.
And the kid obviously can't see it.
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay.
Nope, it's all for the teacher.
Ready? Yep. So here's another one that I attached some skills to. This is using Chatterpix Kids. And when we play this, you can just watch the polar bear's mouth. He made it kind of small, but it makes it look like whatever they drew or made is talking. So it's kind of a fun app to use.
So this is an app smash. So the kids used this app, saved it as a video, and then brought it into Seesaw.
And they're learning how to, they saved it on their on their iPad in their camera rolls. Then they had to go to Seesaw, find it in the camera roll, and add it, which we're learning all those steps. It's been a process to get there. So.
Polar bears are interesting. Polar bears' tails are short. Polar bears have black skin because a black skin takes in the heat from the sunlight. Polar bears have long lives. I think polar bears are cute.
And on that, sometimes the app only gives you about 30 seconds. So sometimes on those it sounds like they're talking really fast because they're trying to get all their words in. But I added some skills to this one too, so you can go see. I just added 2 simple ones on that, and then you can rate how they did. So I rated how they read it, and then also I looked at their writing and give them a rating on that too. So this is what we were talking about the skills. So you can see all the skills that you've assigned to your students. The little animals over there are the students. So they assign them like a little emoji when they are logged into Seesaw. And then you can see the color, my coloring, the green was higher and the yellow was kind of in the middle and the red was lower. And then the number in each box shows how many assignments you've assigned for that skill. So this was just kind of at the beginning of when we're doing it. This is the information about Chatterpix Kids. And it's pretty fun. And then this is an example of trying new things. We've worked up throughout the year. At the beginning, they started taking just a picture of something and recording. We've learned how to add a comment, if they've gone back, sometimes they've added a comment, I think I did a good job on this because, or whatever, just for themselves. We aren't doing it for each other. And then this, they've practiced recording each other. So this quality isn't great, and there's someone in the background, but it's just showing that this is a learning process in a under construction journal, but we were practicing doing this. So this was just recently too.
What else can you do? Shoot a gun, climb trees, and even throw a football. Best of all, you can have adventures there.
Was a bonus performance there in the back.
Right. And this is something I showed at conferences. We also did an activity where we practiced giving ourselves feedback and giving each other feedback on this particular activity. So it was nice to show the feedback form to the parents and then also show this, and we kind of saw some things they did at the beginning of the year and their growth throughout the year so far. And this is just one more thing that I showed at conferences, showing their beginning of the year and how they've grown. This was really cool to see, just a lot of them at the beginning were really quiet and really, really shy or unsure about sharing on Seesaw, and now just to hear their confidence and the longer assignments that they're able to do.
This is the story of my life. My name is William Richard Christensen. I was born on December 2nd, 2010 in Des Moines, Iowa. I live with my dad, Nate, and my mom, Andy. We have one gray dog named Chewy. I live in Edmond, Oklahoma. The states I have lived in are Iowa, Idaho, and Oklahoma. I now attend Cassidy School and am in 2nd grade. I have done many interesting things. I have made oobleck, gone boogie boarding in Mexico, and swam with dolphins in Florida. I have learned how to do a front flip and a front handspring. I'm working on a back flip and a back handspring. I do MMA, jiu-jitsu, and sparring. I like to bike around my neighborhood. I also like to fish with my dad. So far, my life has been pretty good.
So that was fun to share with parents. And the next slide, I think, just shows how you can look at just one student's skills. So if I've given them their skills and their assignments, I'm able to just choose that one student. So if at conferences I wanted to bring this up, I could, and show actual artifacts of things they've learned.
So let me ask you this: how did that go in your first conference, and what do you think about parents like seeing it already? Because it's not the first time they've seen it. So can you talk about that?
I had one thing that was new. When they were videoing each other, the parents hadn't seen that, but then other things they had like from the beginning of the year. I feel like the more I do it, the better it will feel. Some of it felt a little awkward, and some of it felt okay. I read Seesaw has a whole bunch of training videos you can watch and things, so I looked at one about that. And she talked about it's okay if they've seen it before because they're not surprised and just kind of use it as a tool to talk. But then it also kind of felt like it was taking up time in my conference. So I kind of played with it a little bit with different kids and stuff. But I think it was good, and it reminded some to get on, because then later I had more activity on Seesaw from parents. But so I think it was good overall. I just feel like the more I do it, the better it will get.
And we're not sure to the degree that'll be something for the parent conference, and it might be something that just really helps with the ratings. You know, when you're trying to figure out how to rate with that particular skill. But
but I wanted to try it just to see how it was.
All right. Great. Well, we would like you to get out your phone. And if you have not already, please download the Seesaw class app. And we want you to join the class that we have made. So if you did not have a chance to jot your name up by one of the numbers, I actually went in and put your names into our Seesaw as well. And so what you're going to be able to do, go to the next slide, is if, I guess that's it. Is anybody, who's joined? Who's in there? We got a bunch of people that are in there? Okay.
Do we press?
What's that?
Does this mean we're in if we see a soccer ball?
Yeah, if you see the soccer ball, that's right. Should we play the wonderful soccer ball?
This is the soccer ball, and I laughed so hard when he did this, so just watch.
So this is not a great example, but this is...
Oh, it is
last night, this soccer ball was used in a devious crime here at Oakridge School. If you knew, late last night, this soccer ball was used in a devious crime here at Oakridge School. If you knew who, you know who did it. Come report it.
Student.
I mean, this came off the top of his head.
All right, so yes.
Yeah, like in 1 second.
So being whimsical can be fun, and what we want to encourage you to do basically is to contribute to our Seesaw class with an artifact. So we have placed some different objects on your desks. You can pull something out of your purse or your pocket. Basically what you want to do is to take a picture of your object, and then you're going to record just some kind of short, silly, or you could be serious, just be appropriate, right? This is our class, we're going to do appropriate things. Add that, and then what we're going to do is show you what that looks like as we approve them in our class, and then as we rate them as a skill. In fact, we'll do some collaborative crowdsourcing of our skill ratings, and we'll listen to these. So let's just take a few minutes to do this, and then we're going to show you what this looks like from the teacher's side.
Again, just show them how to take a picture and all of that.
Okay. Yes.
I just saw something. I got it. So if you click right here on the plus sign on your screen.
The iPad app is a little bit different, but yeah, it's basically.
And you'll click Post to Student Journal. That's where you'll take a picture.
Thank you.
And you can either, sometimes I like to have the students just take it in the camera, but it's either way. You can take it in your camera and then get it from your camera roll, or you can just choose to do photo and take the picture right there within. And don't worry that there's going to be noise and things like that. Just do your best recording, and we'll take about 5 minutes. And ask us to come help you. We'll be happy to assist you in this process. Whatever questions.
Our voices on top of it.
Do you need the student code again? Or were you able to get in?
Oh, no,
Yeah,
sorry,
so
just
yeah,
now.
no, that's okay.
It just
So
loaded.
it just finished. Okay, so you're going to tap student. I'm a student, and then if you want to tap scan with a code, it'll let you just scan the code. So perfect. Now you're in there.
Thank you.
After you add your item, it will ask you for your name, and that's when you'll indicate what number you are and your name.
Okay.
You wanna say
Would
something.
you like to participate?
Yeah.
Computer? You sure?
I'm done.
So now you can and then if you wanted to, this is just showing you.
Okay. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I think you could choose library.
That's a little bit too much sun.
What are you gonna say? I equals riveting.
X that out.
Do I get to hear how I sound?
And then you record again. So as soon as you press record, you'll hear you do
God,
but then you
that's
just
so
have to stop.
rude.
So you'll push pause.
I can hear. Be frightened. Okay, here we go.
Okay, did you submit your number? You're number 18. So up at the top, click the check.
18. What's going on there?
Did you record? I just typed in what I wanted to say.
You like it? It's okay.
After you do something, can you edit? Can you go back and edit?
Oh, okay.
Like,
Well, I didn't put the
okay, I just didn't know because I clicked.
There's a place you can do copy edit. Can you edit on the phone?
To change the picture or
just to edit her?
Just to see what, or is it pretty limited?
well, did you record with it?
No, I was gonna see if I could go back because I checked it.
We don't have the. Let me turn that on. I'll turn on the editing
What you
items.
could do is do another one and then.
But no, I can turn on item. I can turn item editing on.
I just didn't know how limited it was.
Well, so by
teacher
default,
choice.
they won't have
Oh,
item
okay.
editing on, but actually, yeah,
But
I think
you-
it's a
you
good
can
thing to do.
control it as a
Yeah, so I'm
teacher,
going to turn it on. I'm going to go into settings, and I'll turn on item
Does
editing.
it matter what you're on if you're on a phone or an iPad?
So I'm going to enable item editing.
Okay.
So now, if you refresh that, you may just go back to the beginning. Or can you show the soccer ball? Okay. Now, can you go back to yours?
Can I? Activities. Box.
So I didn't know if you wanted me to approve it or show.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably have some other ones that are going to come in. Okay, so yours will be approved now. So now, can you tap the 3 dots beside it, and then choose edit. And now, choose your number. Okay, and it's going to let you know.
Oh, awesome.
You want me to show how you approve a post?
Right, and we're going to do that.
So then we just.
Okay, we'll give you another minute or two, and then we're going to show you how the skills fit in with this, with the items. And I approved the first 10 without even looking at them, so that may be very dangerous. I will not take responsibility for the things that may have been created. You can listen to each other.
Okay.
I was like, can I upload that one?
So normally you would come by when it said that the student would be waiting for teacher approval like this.
No,
and then-
they'll still submit it, but later, whenever the teacher wants, we're able to
Okay,
review
so
it.
now it just sits here.
Yeah, it just sits and waits
Oh,
in the
okay.
queue. So we don't have to do that live. We can do that later, after class, in the evening, or whatever.
She always does that.
They want you sometimes to do it right away.
She always goes to sleep.
Or you can't.
Okay, if I could have your attention, please.
Okay.
So, a couple things. We've approved 10 posts. Normally we will look at those before we approve them. There's 6 more that are up there, but let's not approve those yet. Melissa's going to click on the wrench here in the upper right corner. We're on the web version. It looks a little different. We're logged in as a teacher. We have all these teacher powers because we're not logged in as a student. If we scroll down a little bit under students, one of the things that we just changed was we enabled item editing, and that let us go in and add some recording or be able to change that. Let's go down a little bit to skills, because that's what we want to talk about. Okay, and let's see if you click on the skills rating scale. Let's just show this. We'll stay with 4 stars, but you can do for the whole class, it's not by assignment, but just the whole class, either a 3, 4, 5, or 6 star rating. Let's see if you'll click on the skills color scheme. If you don't want to do red to green, there's other options there, but we'll stick with that. So let's just go back. And now let's click down a little bit more, and we'll go to manage skills. Okay, now the skills that are showing up here are the ones that Melissa has created and used before. If we made this an activity, we could put the skill with it, and it would automatically pop up when we say review it, and that is really nice. Seesaw has added all the skill stuff this year, and the ability to add the rating at the time you approve it is really nice. So now we're going to click X and just close this out, and let's evaluate some of our. Is there anything?
They're already there.
They're there. Okay, so let's review. So go ahead and click review. And so right now, because this isn't an activity, the skill is not popping up. Let's go ahead and play this one just for fun.
I don't even know what this thing is. Makes me think of oil and vinegar that I put on a salad. Not sure.
So, if you have a quieter space or the kids step in the hallway, all those things enhance their recording, but it actually can work out okay usually for them to record in the classroom. So, Melissa, if you clicks there on the little cap, here are the different skills, and the most recent one that she rated my soccer ball with was the reads fluently. So she's going to check the box next to reads fluently. We're using that skill. I don't know, Melissa. What do you think? 1 to 4.
I would want to give her a 4.
Okay, let's do that then. So she's just going to click 4 stars right there, and then click a checkbox. And let's take a look at another one or 2.
This is always what you check on Seesaw. It's like the magic.
Right.
Okay. Always a check.
And all the skills that she's created are there, and then actually go up a little bit higher, and then click approve. So she can do the skill right there, but it's going to. Go ahead and click a.
I don't know if you want to look at that again.
Let's do another one.
No. Okay.
So let's go down and review. Oh yes, we need to do Kevin's. Go ahead and play this for us.
Feels like the sun is getting closer and
Tattoo on that little guy.
I like the expression. All right. Again, she clicks the hat. She selects the skill. And she does the rating. Actually, that was wonderful, but for the sake of seeing something different, Kevin is working on that. So we're going to say that was a 2. It was actually a 4. It was fantastic. Go ahead and check that. And then let's just go ahead and approve the rest of those. So if you click review, approve all. Okay, so these are all going to be approved. And what we want to do is now look at the skills view. So Melissa's going to come over here and click on skills. And so all of the students are going to show up here, but only the ones that have actually been evaluated have the color, and then you'll see how many items they've submitted for that particular skill. So as we evaluate more skills, we'll end up with more columns. And let's say we were going to have a conference, Melissa, with Kevin's mom and dad. And so we'll click there, I think, on the box there for number 1. And so we can go immediately to that artifact. And then, how do we filter for the skills view? I think, click back and I think that's when, if we click on, instead of the skill. So if you scroll down and just click on his number over on the side, which would normally be his name, click on 25.
Yeah, I did that.
Is that it? Nope. Oh, it's over here, students. So click on the right under students. We have 31, and so he's student 25. Okay. And so click on student 25.
And then go to skills after that.
I think this will do it, actually. Yeah, there it is. So if we're going to have the conference with Kevin's mom and dad, this is how we would just click before we sat down, and no other student skills are there, and we can see those. And anyway, that's basically what we've learned. So, questions? Yes?
When you have something like I don't know, like capitalizes, like I saw that was one of your skills. Mm-hmm. Would you have them take a photo of a written piece as the evidence, or are you just going to have some skills that you have paper for the parents and some skills that you have video?
Well, like on the polar bear one, his writing was on the back, but it wasn't actually on Seesaw. He just read it, but I gave him a skill on his writing and the capitalization and everything, so it wasn't actually a picture. It was just a.
Okay,
But
so
so
you're
kind of
using
both.
the document and the video to create.
I did on that one.
She
yeah.
did in that case.
But
So-
then other ones, I would do a picture. Yeah, I've done it both.
And that's what we're also
Lay them side by side.
trying to figure out, right? Is what makes the most sense for us to do. And also what's transformative. Like, what can we do with this that we couldn't do before, especially with regard to parent feedback and then the documentation of the progress, right? What kinds of things can get documented here?
Parents are thrilled to just see their children's work.
Yes.
I mean, this year has been so positive with my parents on, oh my gosh, I love what you're doing with them. I can see a huge difference in their fluency and just that kind of thing. They love it. Of course, anytime you see your child's work.
Yeah, I have a colleague whose kid was in my class last year, and she's like, when I get the notification on my phone that Berkeley's done something, it's like the best part of my day. And I have a baby in daycare, but his daycare has an app, and I'm always like, what is he doing? So like, I
Right.
totally get it. It's like the parents, like, they don't know what we do all day, and
Yeah.
like, that for us, that's what we use it for. Is really just to like share and like things that you can't save. You know, we built like pencil towers. You
Right.
can't save that, but you can take a video of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have a lot of those on mine.
The grandparents.
We had grandparents in Colorado last year, and the family app will let up to 10 connected family members be on the app. And so this student, my wife taught in 3rd grade, had all kinds of interactions with her grandparents throughout the year, and little conversations about things, and interactions back and forth, and it's just awesome. And that was transformational. That kind of interaction about daily work on almost a weekly basis. No way that would have happened before Seesaw. And so that was a real win, and that family just loved how they interacted and talked about the things she was learning.
So how often do you post something for their families to see? Is it on a weekly basis, like you said? And if so, then that kind of helps answer the question of what did you do to school today?
Melissa,
Right, it
why don't you
does.
go back to your
Exactly.
class?
We almost do it daily in our rotation.
I mean, special teachers are doing things, but we're, I think, making a shift, and we're not stopping that as far as this is a window in the classroom, but we're kind of going beyond it. Yeah, click on your Coate class. We're going beyond it because now students are the ones initiating posts as well. So it's not just the responsibility of the teacher to post. And the fact that it's shared, I think, among specials teachers and not just the homeroom teacher is also good. You can see folders here that Lisa is using, and we didn't create those, but when you create them, you can have that pop up so that the student or the teacher that adds the item can put that in the folder.
But even like at indoor recess, we had snow on Tuesday, so we weren't able to go outside. When they are doing things during recess time, they'll come over and go, can I please post this on Seesaw? I want to show my mom what I made, or we want to tell her about what we're doing.
They'll always want to do those.
Yes.
One important thing to keep in mind is don't ever hand kids your iPad or phone and have them post, okay? Because it immediately goes when you post. So you want them to be logged in as a student, just as you all were here, and then that's going to be into a review queue.
Well, and I use my personal iPad. I just log out, and then they log in again as a student.
Right, and we've got the printed little QR codes by the doors, and with kids in departmentalization and multiple classes, they do that. Yes, Eric?
So as a parent, how do you get access to your child's stuff?
Okay, couple ways actually. Melissa, if you don't mind clicking on the wrench. When you click the tool on the web page and then click Families, you can send home a printed page, so you can click Print Paper Invites, and that's going to give you paper that has a QR code. In the same way we did here, the parents download the Family app, scan the QR code, choose their child, and they're in there. But you can also have the sample email, and the process is the same. And so, I don't know, did you all do both?
We do it, yeah, and we talk about it at parent night at the beginning of the year.
I mean, that's when we give them the paper one. Yeah.
The paper.
Yeah.
Although I did have a parent at conference in February go, oh, you all do Seesaw?
I think I'm the parent right now.
No, you weren't. Not this year.
Well, I think I'm on another one now, I'm realizing.
We also, there's a way to link the class, like, to reassign kids. So, like, my 3rd graders have all their 2nd grade work, if you scroll down far enough. So it's just like, you don't have to, like, make a new class every year. You can just hand them over somehow?
Well, they archive. That's another thing about schools is we're able to archive, and so parents can still, view the past years. Your IT folks have to have a unique number for each child so that they're indexed, but the family app will continue to let the parents go back and see the past work, but it's archived for the teacher, and it's not a live class anymore that you can add to. So, all right, well, this is actually blocked on the network here as a security link. So if you're on your data plan, or maybe they'll unblock that link will go, and again, feel free to access that and share. Can you give our teachers a round of applause? Lisa, yay, it was great. Please reach out to us, let us know what you're doing, because we're on a journey together, and we really think that this can do powerful things for assessment and feedback for parents, and especially for kids as they create content, they learn how to communicate with media, and they learn other ways to show what they know and what they can do. So,
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.